Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I said welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from the background of Jaws, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Doesn't it kind of look like you kind of look like you're in the small town of Jaws?
It's got that vibe, honestly. I'm out here in Greenport, New York. I don't even know what body of water this is, actually. It's the whatever's in between the forks of Long Island. So just off that way is the Long Island Sound. And then just off that way is the Hamptons. And then beyond the Hamptons is the Atlantic Ocean. And this is whatever's in between that.
What was the town? Amity?
Amity was in Jaws, correct?
Yes.
And that was supposed to be what, in Massachusetts?
Yeah, I think they were playing off Cape Cod, maybe.
Yeah. But actually, I don't know if you know this, and I don't know how official this claim is, but it's certainly a claim that is made here often. But out in Montauk, which is just over that way,
lots of great whites.
They say that the shark in Jaws is inspired by a great white that was seen or caught, or I think just spotted off of Montauk. And the idea was like, that's just the biggest shark we've ever fucking seen.
Interesting. Well, I think the actual book, it was inspired by, I think, shark attacks that had happened, I believe, in New Jersey. I think it might have even been sharks that weren't even in the ocean.
Wow.
I could be completely wrong on this, but bull sharks can make their way in freshwater. A lot of people don't know that. So they found bull sharks. They're the only sharks that can do that, and they're vicious, hence the name bull shark. But bull sharks can make their way. They found them in the Mississippi. It's kind of terrifying.
That's wild.
So, but yeah, it definitely kind of gives that vibe. I was also saying it kind of gives a Marina Del Rey vibe with less development.
You'd love this. You'd love the as a non-surfer, I know you love a good body of water, but this is just like chill, calm. There's just a strip of boardwalk right out here outside the houses. All these houses go right up to the water. There's a little like 3-boardwalk next to each other. And then you could stand a paddle out here. You can just go swim right out here. You can go kayak out here. I think I'm gonna go for a paddle or maybe even a swim post episode. I was gonna try to jump in the water before the episode today, but I got a little behind replying to the comments on my Nikki Glaser video I put out yesterday.
Pretty ballsy, man. I'll be honest.
Andy, a lot of people have sent me a lot of things over the years, and for the most part, I ignore them. Like somebody sent me Fortune Feimster doing Namaste years ago, and I'm like, listen, jokes are jokes. Like, did she steal it? Did she see it even? Did she just have the same idea? The only ones really in history that ever that I've ever even spoken about. I thought it was weird that the whole world was commenting on Bill Walton's, the ludicrous things that Bill Walton does when he was on camera. And only after I submitted a Bill Walton impression to SNL did they decide that it was time to do it. 30 years into Bill Walton being on television, they decided, oh, we should probably have Bill Walton. We should have somebody do a Bill Walton impression on the show. That seemed very weird to me. And historically, many people in the comedy business have said, oh, I submitted something on a on a tape, and then the next month they did this or they did that, SNL kind of whatever.
Can real quick on that? Can I? That first of all, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Is when you submit a tape for Saturday Night Live, is there any legal disclaimer?
Paperwork literally says it's ours now.
So, yeah, that makes sense.
So they essentially said they essentially have a summer long writing session where the entire comedy community submits their best shit, and then they just pick and choose what they want for their cast, and they're legally protected by it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, it's not really about the legality of it. It's about the fucking, what kind of scumbags are you? Somebody sent me this Nikki Glaser thing, and I started watching it, and I was just like, yeah, but whatever. Like, is it really the most brilliant concept ever? Then it just kept going. It just kept hitting all the same beats. And I was just like, this is...
So what in your head do you think happened? And I watched it, and I'll be honest, I watched it a few times. Do you think a writer saw that?
Yeah.
Because the reason I asked, when's the last time you don't really do that bit, do you?
No, I haven't done it since I did it in 2015, but it's out there. It's on my socials. It's on whatever. It actually got shared very, very recently a few times. Not just, recently as in since she put it out, obviously, but also now doing the timeline of it when she did it on her special. It got shared a couple times, in that, like, the new thing to do in promoting is comedy clubs will grab a reel from you, repost it, and set you as a collaborator. And then your bit goes out, but you're tagged in it, but they're tagged in it, and they'll put, like, we have Joe Prano this weekend. So, like, I put that bit out on socials, and it didn't do that well. And then a couple months ago, maybe like a year ago now, it got put out on a collab for one of the clubs I was performing at, and it did do really well. And I'm just like,
so you think it was social?
That's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Or, I don't want to name names, but I know at least one of the guys that's responsible for writing a bunch of her shit. Guy who I've known for a long time, even going back to as far as when I recorded that in 2015 and before that. I guess you got, I guess when the boss has got you working in the joke factory, sometimes you just gotta, sometimes your back's against the wall.
You think it might be this person?
Again, normally I wouldn't even like say shit, but it's just like, goddamn. How many? That's why I said at the end, I was like, maybe vet your thing. Somebody comes to you with a full bit with tags and everything.
Well, I just want to make one thing known to people who aren't in, because like you and I are in that world, and we know that world. Common people don't know that world.
Yeah.
So I just want to explain to people. Obviously, a lot of comedians have writers. A lot of comedians that are extremely busy. Like Kevin Hart can't do a new hour special every year,
right?
While he's doing every commercial, every TV show, and every movie.
Right.
Kevin Hart needs writers. And by the way, I don't knock somebody for that. Like, that is what it is.
It's part of the business. Richard Pryor had writers.
Exactly. It's part of the business. So I just want that to be clear. So people say, oh, you don't come up with all your own stuff. Well, the truth is we all, even if you're not a big name, you're going to help somebody. If you have a friend, you're like, oh, maybe this tag will work better. People help each other. That's in a way writing. But the reason I just want to clarify that with everybody. But you think somebody saw it and then was like bringing it to her.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened. There's a lot of different. I know one thing. We've been on a lot of shows together. I know one of my notorious exes just also happens to be a psychotic Nikki Glaser fan that also lives in St. Louis, where Nikki Glaser lives, and has, I'm sure, talked about me on many occasions. So, did somebody go perusing my socials? I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Does Nikki Glaser live in St. Louis?
Yeah.
She actually went, because she's from there. I know that.
Yeah.
She was actually when I started doing open mics in St. Louis, I was on some open mics with her. She went to college. She went to KU. Just side note, she went to
Well,
Kansas.
just so you know, she announced her next HBO special, and it's called Taco Bell Diarrhea. So I'm not saying she's a thief, but
let me ask you that, what do you think the end game, best case scenario for you? Do you think she's actually would ever acknowledge this?
No. And honestly, that's the thing, is like, there's not somebody posted on my thing, like, what's there to do? I was like, there's nothing to do. There's no, some people were like, you should message her, see if she'll pay you for it. I was like, no one would ever do that. It's just deny, deny, deny. I don't know what you're talking about. I had the exact same joke with the exact same tags and the exact same things. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. She'd probably deny even having writers.
Which that would be weird. Why would she deny having writers?
Because comics will do that kind of shit.
You're right, though. I vividly remember a Howard Stern interview, not, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And he kept denying to Stern that he had writers. And I kept being like, come on, man.
But what's amazing is, like, now, you know, the whole Carlos Mencia thing happened. You talk about a bit that like everybody had the same idea. Who's going to build the wall? So who are getting to build the wall? Like, that's an idea. I bet Leno did it on his fucking thing. Like, that's every hack comedian's first take when they heard about building the wall. Who's going to build it? But the thing was, we know you were there. We know you saw it. We know you were in the room and saw him do the joke. Well, now everybody's in the room all the time because it's all on social media.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I say this honestly. My buddy sent it to me, and I was like, I'm 10, 15 seconds into the joke. I'm like, it is what it is. It's like, it's not the most brilliant idea of all time. And then at the end, I was like, okay, that's just, I mean, what are we doing here?
I'm just looking right now. So she does have a podcast. I was curious. Of course she does. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. She actually just released an episode yesterday. I'm just wondering if that would be something she would ever address on her podcast.
Never. Unless it goes mega viral, which it won't, because, you know.
Like, how certain are you that she stole it? Or someone involved?
I mean, how certain am I? Like, listen, I'm not certain about anything except that this joke hits every single one of the same beats. So did she have the concept? And then one of her writers was like, you could also say this and this and this. Did one of her joke writers provide a couple of the things? And then she was like, oh, I could also do this or this. Like, I have no idea what but like, when I was watching, I was literally like, nah, it's just, I mean, listen, it's not that brilliant idea. There's 8 billion people in the world. You think you found your soulmate? It's not that brilliant. Oh, it's not. You met him on Bumble. You met him at the bar. Okay. China. Now all of a sudden your soulmate is working in a sweatshop. Like, I was like, okay.
Let me play devil's advocate on the China thing.
Yeah.
It isn't the go-to, and I used to use that joke all the time. Rinse, recycle, repeat. It was either the iPhone or the Nike factory. Mm-hmm. Like on Twitter. That was always the go-to joke. And that's kind of always been the thing when people preach like social justice warrior type stuff. Everybody always says, oh, from your iPhone, made it in this way. Do you see my point? Like, don't you think that would be the go-to though?
Sure. It just, and listen, each one of them in a vacuum. And I don't think I would have even said anything, but yeah, you're hitting it. Boop, 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 boop. Rule of threes, common rule of threes. Like, it didn't go anywhere else. The bit didn't end up becoming about this. It didn't end up becoming about this. It didn't go there. The premise didn't break off in this way. The premise kept, like, when you think about a joke, they say like alternate timelines, like the butterfly effect, everything. Like, each joke could go, you know, think about like my shark joke. My shark joke ends up being about pedophile priests. You know what I mean? There's so many different ways a premise can take you. It just kept breaking in the exact same way.
Well, I see what you're saying there, and I'm sure you're going to agree with me on this. of all your jokes in that special, I mean, I was there. I was hosting those 2 shows. And I know you're not gonna take this personally. I think you had a lot stronger material in different bits of that special, personally.
1,000,000,000,000%. I'm not even the biggest fan of that joke.
Like the joke you just mentioned, and I don't think that was in that special.
No.
Like that shark bit is one of my favorite bits.
Yeah.
So basically, you're like, hey, I think this was stolen. I'm gonna put it out there. I'm not expecting her to reply. I just wanna, own what I did and created and say, fuck you. I think you stole this.
And also, a big part of it is like I hate the comedy world we live in, where I actually think comedy's taken a turn in the last like maybe year and a half, 2 years, where it's gone to a really weird place. Comedy was like, we were really booming and now it's not. And I think the reason that comedy is not booming, except for like 8 or 10 people, is because those people have become the comics that are being shoved down everybody's throats. Like I know mega talented people that are now going on social media and being like, I can't sell tickets, blah, blah, blah. The algorithm's not pushing my shit anymore. Like, I mean, mega talented comedians who were crushing it 2 years ago, who are now like, what the fuck? Meanwhile, Bert and Tom and Nikki and Shane and whatever are doing stadiums. And you know what I'd like to point out? Nikki Glazer's just doing my fucking jokes. Nikki Glazer's not doing anything fucking brilliant. You think she's brilliant because Netflix and HBO and all these things shove her down your throat. She did an hour special 5 years ago that was just about sucking dick. But she, pardon the pun, got shoved down your throat. So now the whole world's like, the fucking hot up and coming. 40 people write her roast. The mega talented. What did she do? All she did was read a script and get shoved down your throat by the industry, so you think she's brilliant. But the truth is, she's exactly as brilliant as the joke I put on social media 2 years ago. That was the worst joke in my 2015 comedy special that you guys thought was deserving of 2,500 views. That's really the point I'm making. But if she puts it out 9 years later, it's worthy of 10 million views, because you don't know any better that they're telling you this person is brilliant, when really she's literally as brilliant as the 14th best joke in my 2015 self-produced comedy special.
Well, it is a business. I definitely agree there. And I definitely feel like an outsider looking in now, which I think gives me a good perspective, since I don't do stand up anymore. And I definitely agree with you on the shoving it down.
And I'll add one more point in this, now that you've got me off on this tangent, is the same way the networks are doing it, the comedy clubs are doing it now. And I've noticed something in the last 2 years, and I don't say this because I do them all the time, but even last night, it's not a corporate don't tell show, but I did Pete Sestora's new show in the Hamptons, and it was awesome. It was better than, I'm sorry, and I love these guys, it was better than doing The Stand this week, because you're curating comedians that you like. You're not having to think at all. Pete Sestoro, who's just a guy who does jokes in the Hamptons, didn't have to think at all about what is their social media following, what are their credits, whatever. He's just like, I'm going to put together the best show I could put together for these people at this golf course. And it was the most fun I've had on stage in forever. And I do those don't tell shows up in San Luis Obispo, and I do those don't tell shows. Like, at this point, I'd rather do comedy in a gym or a cafe or at a golf course with super funny comedians that no one's ever heard of and whose names we're not trying to grift off the back of, than do a comedy club where they're like, that guy who does impressions on the red carpet, here's him telling jokes. And you're like, okay. Well, here's the Dodgers catcher Will Smith headlining the show. You're like, if I get big enough, do I just get to play center field for the fucking Dodgers? Like, why is this the game we're in?
Well, it's definitely a different game, and it's funny that we're even having this conversation because I was watching a YouTube video this week. That was the whole discussion. It was like a 10-minute clip from a podcast, but it was Sebastian Maniscalco. How's his name pronounced?
Yeah, Maniscalco.
And that's what the guy asked him. You know, he was just Sebastian Reich is a straight club guy through the years, grinded. And that's basically what the guy said to me. He goes, well, what do you think now about the TikTok guy? And
I don't even know how to use the TikTok guy. I open up the Tiki-Taki and I'm like, is there a tic-tac-toe portion of it? Do I do X and you do O?
And I thought he gave a pretty sound answer. He said, look, I used to get angry and frustrated because I'm working all these jobs and I'm still grinding and I'm doing stand-up and that's how I kind of made my name. And these guys, but he said, I've learned to accept it's different. But he also said, I'm not really going to go there. Like with my career, I'm a club guy. I'm not going to just start pumping out TikToks and Instagram. But, you know, he made the point, which I know we'll both agree with, of, look, man, that's cool. Do your stuff. Make your name because you become a huge TikToker. But he said, which I know you've said many times, it's like, it's a lot different when you're in front of a live audience and you're not on an edited video that has a bunch of takes and production value. And suddenly you're in a room full of people, whether it's 100 people or 1,000 people, and you're on a stage and you have no bits. He's like, you know, that's what are people.
Also, a Jeff Goldblum impression in front of Jeff Goldblum is funny for 10 seconds. How do you do that in a room full of people then when Jeff Goldblum's not there for 20 minutes? You know what I mean? Or whatever. That's just one example. Or the guy who's a fucking, you know, he does an Italian accent and he talks about the fucking, the manicotti, and he's the TikTok Italian food guy, and then all of a sudden they're like, you got 10 million followers, why don't you come on stage? And he's like, yeah, great, I can do a manicotti on stage. And you're like, what is this?
Yeah. And you can't fake that. And that's kind of the point, right? You can't fake it in front of a live audience. If you're going to bomb or if you're not going to have content, you can't fake it because people are going to walk out. People are going to say this sucked. This was terrible. I'm never seeing a YouTube influencer again or TikTok influencer, whatever it is. People are going to leave. But definitely the algorithms are in play. The quote unquote machine is in play.
No pun intended.
I kind of have a guilty pleasure on following all that stuff now. I wouldn't even call it a guilty pleasure. I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated on, like, there's a big backlash though the other way on a lot of those comedians you mentioned. I agree. They have huge followings and they're doing, but there's also a huge backlash of people being sick of it or calling people sellouts or all that stuff. I don't know. It's again, I always find it interesting now as an outsider looking in, but most people just don't know the business. Right. And that's kind of what it is. The common person's not going to know, and it's tough to explain that to the common person. Like my girlfriend's a prime example.
Yeah.
She doesn't know. It's the same way I wouldn't know other lines of work, but
I mean, it's just, you're going back to the original thing. It's like the other day, somebody made a travel itinerary for me, right? Somebody I work with made a travel itinerary. And when I got to the airport, I realized that they had put Joe Prano on the thing. And I'm like, well, my name is Joseph. So, like, hopefully this isn't an issue at the fucking TSA and whatever and blah, 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 blah. Now, in that moment, I'm like, oh, there's a bit there. And then I was like, Nate Bargatze does this bit. And I was like, he does it. Now, did I just like come up with the bit idea? Sure. But like also it's out there and like you do it like the idea that somebody would be like, not that original, bro. It's like, it's really not the point. The point is, you know, I'm not an open micer. She knows me. I know her. We've been on shows together. It's just too fucking, it just hits too many of the beats over and over and over again. Where, you know, like I said, not calling her out personally, but calling out somebody over there. Be better.
Yeah, and you can, if you want, you can just say that person's name right now.
Yeah.
No?
Again, the truth is, I would expect at this
Clay
point,
Travis? Was it Clay Travis?
I wish it was. At this point, I expect that she has more than one person writing for her. I mean, it's not just one person coming up with all those dick sucking jokes. See, that's a room full of monkeys with calculators putting those together.
Is that I haven't really followed her stand up outside of the Tom Brady roast, which again, I thought it was real well, like she did great there, but for sure she's got writers. And that's not even taking anything away from her. I think she did great. But is that still her premise of the dick sucking jokes?
No, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I haven't watched the special that my bit appears in. But I did watch,
because that was like her in Amy Schumer's MO for the longest time.
She has one bit called like fucking smashed or like slammed or like gagging or something like that. Like her special before this special is literally it's 1 hour of I fuck dudes, even though she's been on and off with the same dude for like 10 years. So,
and she's sober, I believe, too.
Who the fuck knows?
No, I think she is. I have always found that interesting though, because if a girl does a whole bit on banging dudes and blowing dudes, this is where it's not the same for the genders. Now, if I had done the same bit about just banging a bunch of chicks, I'm for sure labeled an asshole,
right,
and a misogynist and a sexist.
That's a whole other fucking. That's a whole other. We don't even need to open up the men are dumb is the through line for every female comics thing. But if a man says a woman's dumb, we're punching down. Are they a larger portion of the population than us? Are men technically a minority of women? Yes. If I make fun of Taylor Swift, am I making fun of somebody from a? Yeah.
By the way, that's a fun fact. More women have college degrees at this point. When more women go to college, women are more educated than men. That's a statistical fact.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting.
But if I make fun of billionaire Taylor Swift, I'm somehow still punching down. That's just like women. That's just like, dude, why are you guys saying this about yourselves?
That term for me is the most hated term within the comedy industry. And the minute to me, Joe, and then we'll segue to some sports. The minute you tell me someone's punching down or I'm punching down or whoever, you've lost me.
Yeah.
You've lost me because you don't have an argument. Because I don't know what that means. And obviously Dave Chappelle addressed it in his last special. I don't know what that means. A joke's a joke. It's the same way the other day while you were doing all this. One night I fell down the rabbit hole. I'll admit it, guys. I fell down it. It was late night. I fell down the YouTube comment rabbit hole on our last podcast against Lamar Jackson people. And it's the same way. They don't have an argument, and it's two white guys. You're racist.
Right.
It's that's what it came back to. It was two black dudes arguing with me on two separate accounts.
Then they're self-hating black guys.
Yeah, and it's you guys are racist. You're racist, and I'm just like, okay, dude, we can, you can call me racist all you want. He doesn't win in the playoffs.
Also, isn't Patrick Mahomes black?
Well, that was the caveat. It was excluding Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, well, what? It's the same terrible argument that the person kept making. He doesn't have weapons, and I kept countering.
Obama is our first black president. Kamala is our first potentially black female president. But Patrick Mahomes isn't black? How does this work?
I think it was more we couldn't use Patrick Mahomes.
Because why?
Because everybody knows he's the best.
Oh, okay.
But he's also black.
So
I don't know.
So who are the other top? So I'm racist because I think Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts are overrated. But I also think Trevor Lawrence is overrated. And I also think whatever. It's like, is that where it ends? That's why I'm racist?
I mean, none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
Just like the person argument kept coming back to, he has no weapons, and then my counter would always be, the weapons work great in the regular season. So the weapons suddenly just suck in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you're going to lose me when you say outside of Mark Andrews. And again, my same counter was
outside of Travis Kelce.
That's exactly what I said.
Right.
I go, they're both Pro Bowlers.
Yeah.
You're like, what are we doing here?
Tom Brady lost the Super Bowl. He played with Randy Moss, but won when he played with Wes Welker.
And Troy Brown, who was literally going both ways. I mean, Eli
Manning won his Super Bowl with Steve Smith, but not the Steve Smith that you know that's good. The one that caught 100 balls and then went to the Eagles and caught 5 and retired. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, all these guys, they all just like it. You know what it is? You know what's weird that the great quarterbacks all have in common is they all had coaches who could find undersized white guys to dominate the slot position. It had nothing to do with Brady and had nothing to do with Peyton Manning. Brandon Stokely was just like a hidden gem discovered by Tony Dunn. Like, I don't even know. Like, what is the theory here?
Who was Jordan? Who's the guy in the Packers?
Yeah. Jordy Nelson.
Yeah. Same thing. But that I've learned, I think, and I think that last episode shows it. I've learned the Lamar Jackson stands, I think, are the most crybaby bitches. Like as far as the NFL fans, I'm ready to say that. I think they're the biggest crybaby bitches because, again, you're great in the regular season. You've won 2 MVPs.
Yeah.
Your postseason stats suck. You can blame anybody. At the end of the day, man, you're a quarterback. And I'm sure we'll be going back and forth with this throughout the year. By the way, what did you think of Joe Burrow's new haircut?
I mean, it's a vibe, I guess. Like, cool. Like, I say go for it. Like, to me, I actually like one thing when it comes to when it comes to football players in general, like, is if you show up day one, I don't care. Like, the color is whatever, but like, if you show up day one with the crew cut, I'm in. Like, it's summer, it's training camp. Dirk always used to show up day one, training camp, crew cut. By the end of the year, he's got the flop top back. But I like it. I like going with the just take it down to start the year. But then, maybe that's precisely his thinking. And then he was like, but I got to do something. And then he went with this, the Stan in the Eminem video. Does Joe Burrow's, I know he broke up with his girlfriend. Is she in the trunk of his car?
I don't know. Is he going to kill his mom?
Yeah.
It's a good question. Do we have an update on Randy Ruther? Does he have the Burrow look? Did he bleach his hair?
Oh, I don't know, but I want to give, I know Randy still tunes into the show from time to time. Huge shout out to the great Justin Wood, who did a fantastic job dog sitting until he passed the baton this week. Like, I love when people are just like casual, like the casual dog watcher that doesn't like update you, like, oh, this is weird thing, like just a couple pictures here and there, the dog's playing, them laying on the couch, like the whatever. Just like, I always felt comfortable, felt safe. I think they liked him. Just a great job. Most valuable dog watcher this year. The Joe Burrow of dog watchers.
Well, the bar is basically "Don't kill my dogs," right? It's pretty low.
Don't kill my dogs, but like also just like the drama when you're away. It's like, the dog's eating its kibble like quickly. Should I be worried? And it's like, no, that's what dogs do. You're good.
I
And
remember
he was just super. It was such a casual, easy dog watching. Now my sister's dog going crazy. Just keeps hearing the word dog.
Do you think people worry more about kids or their dogs when they leave? I almost feel like it's their dogs.
Yeah, because the kid because the kid can tell you if something's wrong and the dog can't. You're like, oh, your dog died. And you're like, wait, what happened? Like, I don't know.
My brother one time, I was home and he was on a trip, and at the time he had 2 black labs, and I misunderstood what I was supposed to feed them. So I gave both dogs double for the 7 straight days. No lie. They came home and they're like, "What happened to our dogs?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "They're huge. What did you do in 7 days? What did you do? What were you?" I was like, "Well," I was like, "Wasn't this?" And then, no. That was the total amount between the 2. You were giving them double the food. They must have just loved you.
Yeah.
They
That's
came back
hilarious.
looking just like fat little dogs, man.
That's so funny. Oh, you gotta say you have to say the amount. You can't just like give me an amount and then split between the 2 dogs. Why would you ever even set it up that way? Just be like, each dog gets 1 cup or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
All the dogs in the house eat 6 cups a day total, and you're like, am I doing a word problem now?
Yeah, I was never good at math.
PSAT word problem. If each of 2 dogs split 12 ounces of food per day, how much does each dog eat for their 1 meal in the morning and their 1 meal in the afternoon?
I know. What are we doing? Exactly.
Solve for X.
The
X
Olympics
equals kibble.
The Olympics start tomorrow, man.
I know. I'm excited.
I'm actually excited too. I think it's going to be on a lot in this household.
Our boy Aaron Moharis, I think, will be in Paris for the Olympics.
He is a attorney for
the Olympic Committee, I think, right?
I thought of Aaron yesterday.
Yeah, you were watching Dances with Wolves?
No, I heard a Tim Dillon rant about adults going to Disneyland, and I couldn't stop laughing. I mean, it's literally Aaron and his wife. He's like,
honestly, I you know me. I like let this be known that I am not voting for Kamala Harris. I think you knew that about me. I think you know I'm not a corporate Democrat fan or a fan of cops. But I saw this woman on TikTok today. She posted like, unfollow me if you want, but I'm not voting for her. And then I was like, ugh, look at this fucking bitch. And I went through her page, and her son's like 14, and they're still going to like Disneyland together. And I was like, you should be voting for her because your 14-year-old son still goes to Disneyland, and Democrats are more protective of the LGBTQ community. Like, if you're a 14-year-old boy and you're not jacking off in your room, instead you're going to Disneyland, I'm sorry, you might be gay.
I don't know if that's like shots at Moharis too. I'm a little confused.
Yeah.
But I did think of him because he was just talking about like, it's so different. You take your kids. It's a thing. Like, you take your kids, but he's like, you're an adult. You just can't. I literally could not stop laughing out loud. He's like, you're an adult. If you go to Disneyland as an adult without kids, you just can't give up being a kid. And I was like, is that Aaron? Is that Aaron? I don't know. I don't know what his status is now. He lives, I believe, in Denver now, so he can't go.
Yeah. Oh, damn. I didn't even think about that. Does he live in Denver?
Am I completely wrong? Or
I
maybe
think you're completely wrong. I think he lives in Long Beach, but I think he
was interning there.
I think the Olympic Committee or whatever is based in Denver.
Okay. There's another Ruther just made some shit up.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Aaron lives in Long Beach.
Okay. You're probably right. He was definitely out there one summer. Well, regardless, the Olympics do start tomorrow, and Team USA, the men's basketball team, there's a lot of close games, a lot of close exhibition games. So now we got the old heads coming out. Of course they are. Charles Barkley talking about the current Team USA it puts me in a bad mood when they compare the Dream Team, which for those who don't know was the 1992 team, to this current team. I hope that after seeing these results, there are no doubts about who is the best team. All our victories were by more than 30 points without asking for a single timeout. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Can I just say, like before I even get into this, and this is, we've been back and forth a million times on the old heads and the whatever and the way the game's changed and blah 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 blah. I don't think the Dream Team. I don't think the Dream Team finishes games against this team. I think Michael Jordan's competitive spirit gets broken and they walk off the floor. I think Chuck Daly puts a gun in his own mouth. I think the Dream Team gets boat raced into retirement. I think they all simultaneously retire. I think simultaneously they all have HIV or bad backs, or their dads, they can't go on with their dad, like at the exact same time. I think Christian Laettner never appears in the NBA because he's like, I don't want any of this. I think they lose by 60 points every game.
So there's a lot of things at play here. One, just 30 plus years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, just take any sport. Take the other major sports. What was going on in other major sports as far as how the game's played 30 plus years ago? Can you imagine Major League Baseball pitchers now, 30 years ago? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So the game's evolved. Secondly, Charles should take it as a compliment. The game evolved because of the Dream Team.
I couldn't agree more. The Dream Team might be the number one biggest thing for spreading basketball internationally, which is now the heart and soul of the NBA. Really, is the combination between the talent pool in the United States and the talent pool internationally. It's what makes the NBA so unbelievably great. And yes, the Dream Team is probably the combo of the Dream Team, David Stern, Nike, all the things, like it made it something so that the Lukas of the world and the Giannis's and even the Embiids, who's obviously on Team USA this year, and Dirk and everybody, all the international superstars, they exist because of the Dream Team and David Stern and Nike. So yeah, you're responsible for there being more competition in basketball.
Yeah, and that's a good thing.
So here's a couple fun international basketball facts, Andy, just to put into perspective what Charles Barkley, the audacity of Charles Barkley even playing. 5 of the 6 last MVPs are foreign-born players. No, sorry. I think 6 of the last 6 MVPs. 6 of the last 6 MVPs might be foreign-born players. Joel Embiid happens to be playing on Team USA, but you have 2 Giannis, 3 Jokic, 1 Embiid. Embiid was born where? Cameroon or some shit like that.
So, yeah, 2 Giannis.
Yep.
3 Jokic.
Yep.
And Embiid.
Yeah. So the last 6.
The last 6 MVPs.
Here's another fun international basketball fact. Since 2000, we have 10 foreign-born MVPs. 10.
Out of the last 24 years.
Before 2000, how many MVPs international born in the history of the NBA?
Akeem, did he get MVP?
You got 1 MVP, correct. Andy, don't keep thinking. That's it. That's it. 1 foreign-born MVP before the year 2000, Hakeem. The last 6 have been foreign-born, and 10 since 2000. Steve Nash, Dirk, Tim Duncan.
And for me, it's not even about comparing, because I the truth is, I've never thought about that. I've never thought about at this point, because we're so far removed from that 92 Dream Team, I would never compare the 2024 men's basketball team to the Dream Team. But it's really astounding for someone like Charles Barkley, who I genuinely like. I don't always agree with him, but I definitely like him. It's astounding that he doesn't see the history like we're saying.
This is the problem with
why? How can he not see that?
This is the problem with guys specifically like Charles Barkley, where it's like, you know, the game so well and you're so great at analyzing it. And your only blind spot is anytime anybody's compared to the area that you play in. And then you throw everything you know about basketball out the window and you get defensive about your own shit. It's why he's not as good an analyst as like a JJ Redick anymore. You know what I mean? It's why it's like now you have these new guys, like JJ's not as entertaining and he's not as whatever, but he's just like, I'm separating myself from everything and I'm looking at this through, you know, unbiased eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm just giving you my take. He's not, you know, it's Charles Barkley does the equivalent of like a modern day analyst like JJ Redick saying everything, like he nails all his basketball takes and then just being like, you think Steph Curry's better than me at shooting threes? I mean, go back to my college stats. I played at Duke. Go back to what I did in the league. I did this. Like I'm a better third. And you're like, what are we talking about, dude? Like what? But he would never say that because he's an honest analyst.
Well, that's the thing.
The problem that these guys is their only hole is they refuse to ever say anybody could play in the 1990s.
He's watching the game all the time. He's fully aware of all the foreign-born players that are going to play for their countries.
Yeah.
And you sent me this. The stat is right there. In the 92 Dream Team faced 9 NBA players in the Olympics. 9. That's it. This 2024 Olympics, Team USA will play against 61 NBA players. So
and the 9, like off the top of my head, like Sarunas Marciulionis, Tony Kukoc. Like, okay, you face 9 seventh men in the NBA.
Vlade Divac.
Yeah.
Sabonis.
Yeah.
And now they're going to face 61 NBA players so you have 7 times the amount. And we're not just talking scrubs. We're talking Luka, the Joker, Giannis. We're literally talking about MVPs. You're not facing a guy who might be the 6th or 7th man on the bench in the NBA. You're facing the best player or the best players. You know, I used to not like it when these games were close. I used to be like, oh, I just want to see Team USA blow out everybody. But my mentality has changed because I've understood the change of the game. Same thing.
Yeah.
I understand. Hey, man, these guys can ball. The same way I don't expect Team USA to just blow out everybody in, I don't know, pick another sport where they've been good, like swimming. You're like, okay, they're going to be battles. They're not going to win everything. Track and field. There's a lot of good runners out there, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good athletes.
But I don't know if you know, Roger Bannister beat the guys he was running against by far more than Usain Bolt. And you're like, what?
I don't even know who Roger Bannister is.
He's like the first guy to run the 4-minute mile. It's terrible, old school track.
That was old school, man.
But
hopefully Nikki Glaser doesn't steal that bit.
Yeah, yeah. Nikki Glaser is going to talk about Roger Bannister tomorrow, and people are going to be like, "Take it easy, Borat." I think we all know who ran the first 4-minute mile.
Somebody call you Borat?
No, I'm just doing what.
Yeah, Charles, man.
I got 5% on my battery. Give me 2 seconds to just figure out a charge here.
Go ahead, do that. But if I'm Charles Barkley, I'm just embracing that all of these foreign players are good, and they're not just good, they're great because of you, because of the Dream Team. I'll never forget that Olympics. It was fun. It was amazing. They used to just blow everyone out of the water. It was like men versus boys, that Olympics. It was you being a high schooler and you're playing a game of one-on-one against your 9-year-old brother. You're 16 playing your 9-year-old brother. That's what it was like. And it was fun. And it was a moment in history where you just watched NBA players completely and utterly take a hot dump on the rest of the world. And it was fun. But those aren't the times now. Times have changed because of that. All the foreign players saw how great the NBA players were, and they wanted to level up. They wanted to get to that area of fucking playing. That's what happened. So Charles couldn't be taking a more wrong approach, in my opinion, and it's better for the game. I'm looking forward to closer games because I get to see Luka. I get to see Giannis. I get to see all these guys with guys I don't know, so it should be fun. I look forward to that.
I'm back, I think. You got me?
Yeah, you're back.
I don't know why you're not coming through my headphones, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah. I think it makes for a more enjoyable Olympics. That was fun at how it was in 92 and then probably in 96. That was fun to watch USA blow everybody out. But now it's kind of more fun to watch. It's the same way you don't want to watch a 7-game NBA finals or a 6-game NBA finals with every game being a blowout.
I couldn't agree more. And you know what? The weird part for me, Andy, is that the only thing that makes watching Team USA go up against really, really great international players whose names you know from the NBA and play good games. The only thing that makes it not exciting is, somewhere Charles Barkley's going, man, we beat this team by 450 points. When we played Angola, they didn't have no shoes, and we beat them even though they didn't have no shoes. They was in touch with the floor, but then they gave up, and I was like, you played them without shoes, dog. And it's the only thing that makes this less enjoyable is knowing the old head fucking dorks out there are like, this is why Jordan would never. And it's like, yeah, Jordan would never play against, international play. Like literally the one international player Jordan knew, he retired because they were calling him the European Michael Jordan. He's like, I'm not playing with this motherfucker.
This is the equivalent that I want to say. And I thought about this. This is like a personal one. So my brother Brad, his high school football team was like the first ever really good high school football team at my high school. They made it to the state finals. They were the first ever team that made it to the state finals, Division I state finals. They go 13-1, they lose, right? And they kind of kicked off. That was in 1992, ironically. Same year. They kind of kicked off like my school being great at football. Mm-hmm. The truth is, like, we've been great for the last, 30 plus years. Since then, they've won 4 state titles. They put out a lot of great players, in the NFL. Anyway, my brother Brad thinks, and this is hilarious to me, he thinks his entire 1992 state runner-up team should be inducted in our high school's Hall of Fame. And my argument always back to him is, he goes, we started this 30-plus year run of legit great teams, nationally ranked teams, all this stuff. We started this. I said, you did. I agree. But there's been 4 actual state champions since then. Because they've never put a whole team into the Hall of Fame. They just put players. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't understand that. It's the same argument. He's like, well, back in my day, you don't know how bad the program was. I was like, yeah. But again, you can't put in a runner-up. The 4 teams who won state are going to say, we actually won it.
Yeah.
You guys were second place.
Yeah.
But to me, it's an old head mentality of like, you don't know how bad the facilities were and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, dude, this isn't 1992. Things have changed.
Yeah.
Just accept it. And it's crazy again that he watches games. You work for TNT, which is right now going to be in its last year.
That's what it gets so frustrating for me as a Charles Barkley fan and as a basketball fan and as an NBA fan is you watch him spot on, and then it's not that he believes it, it's that he doesn't believe it. I wouldn't mind if he missed on a lot of basketball takes and then he just missed on this, but he's pretty good at his basketball takes. And the only time he misses is when it's in some retrospective to some other time. And so then you just go, so this is your blind spot, or this is when you lie?
I personally think it's a blind spot. I think
he's lying. I think he knows for sure that I think Charles Barkley knows basketball on a level that most people don't. I think Charles Barkley knows Kevin Durant would score 1,000 points per game against his Phoenix Suns team. I think he knows that Kevin Durant would be unguarded. I think Charles Barkley knows basketball well enough to know if the dream team took the floor, the 5 minutes that Chris Mullin was out there, Kevin Durant will put 75 points on his head. I think Charles Barkley knows that. I think Charles Barkley knows the 6'7" dude with the crew cut wasn't guarding the 7'1" 3-point shooting alien. I think he fucking knows that. I think Charles Barkley knows that LeBron James' game is so much infinitely better than Michael Jordan's game that he has to lie to defend his era.
See, I disagree there. I think he legitimately thinks he's the guys are soft now, the hand checking, all that. I think in his head, that's how he thinks.
Basically, we're playing Charles Barkley troll or moron.
We really are.
I'm going troll. You're going moron.
Yeah. Well, big news yesterday regarding TNT and his crew, because the NBA now is saying the new TV package is officially NBC, ESPN, and Amazon, where Warner Brothers, who owns TNT, claims they were given the offer or given the option, according to them, to match Amazon. The NBA is saying they're going with Amazon. And now there's going to be a big court case. I don't know if you saw this.
I did not.
Yeah, so the NBA is saying you didn't match. It's all weird. It's all bizarre. TNT saying we did match the offer, and that under our current contract, we were given the right to match. The league said it rejected a proposal from Warner to keep basketball games on its TNT network, setting the stage for a potential legal showdown. TNT had exercised a clause in its contract that gave it the right to match a rival bid. The NBA is saying Warner Brothers Discovery's most recent proposal did not match the terms of Amazon Prime's videos offer, and therefore we've entered in a long-term agreement with Amazon, the league said. So it's kind of bizarre. They're saying you did match it. The NBA or TNT Warner Brothers is saying we did.
It feels like from a legal standpoint that this should be a pretty open and shut case, whichever way. It's like, cool. Show me the signed paperwork that you have with Amazon and what it said, and then show me the email correspondence where you matched beat by beat again.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we'll give you this much, but we're not going to this much, or we're giving you this much, but we only want this many games, or we want this many more games, or whatever. Like, again, this feels real. To go back to what we started the show with, it's like the Nikki Glaser thing. It's like beat by beat, which was the thing that fucking set me off. It's like Warner can't say, oh, they were giving you $2 billion or whatever. We offered you $2 billion. Well, did you want more games? Did you want more conference finals games? Did you want whatever? If it's identical, this should be a pretty open and shut case. If it's not, it should also be a pretty open and shut case.
In a statement, TNT said it doesn't believe this all is it's so vague. TNT said it doesn't believe the NBA can reject its match of Amazon's offer and added that the league has, in quotes, grossly misinterpreted our contractual rights and we will take appropriate action. So you're going to sue them to say you have to, you have to accept us when they don't want you?
This is going to be a real predicament for Charles Barkley, because does Charles want to keep making, God knows what, $25 million a year and working out of the studio that he was already working out of? Or does Charles Barkley's blind spot go, no, ain't nothing better than NBA on NBC? That was the 90s. NBA on NBC. That's what it is. That's the best it'll ever be. Anything that ain't NBA on NBC is terrible. Are you telling me you're going to go with somebody besides John Tesh? Terrible. Terrible. You got to go Tesh.
So this is how it'll break down. NBC Universal's package, which will also allow all the games on Peacock, will have 100 regular season games, as well as first and second round playoff games and 6 conference series finals. Disney is actually taking out a smaller amount than its current deal, even though they're going to pay the most because they get the finals. They will have 80 regular season games, the NBA finals, plus early round playoff contests and conference finals in 10 seasons. Amazon has the lightest package, which apparently TNT was going for.
Just
Amazon was
what package I need to watch the Knicks win their first championship since the 70s.
66 regular season games will be on Amazon, including Thursday night doubleheaders, which will start in January, plus Friday evening doubleheaders and select Saturday afternoon games. They will also be in charge of the play-in tournament. Plus, they get 6 conference finals. So, I know what you're most interested in. As part of this agreement, the WNBA,
let's fucking go,
will get 25 regular season games on Disney platforms, 50 on NBC Universal, and 30 on Prime. This is what it sounds like to me. And this is what it sounds like. See if you agree. I think Warner Brothers and TNT could not have botched this more. Either you wanted it or you didn't want it. And forever they kept saying, we're not going to pay, we're not going to pay, we're not going to pay. And at the very last minute, they realized, hey, we really need this because everyone's cutting cable. Why can we charge high prices for cable providers to have a network like TNT if we don't have live sports? Now, they do have Major League Baseball. They do have the NHL. They do have NASCAR. So they do have some sports. But from my perspective, they waited, and then it was too late. And now they're not stuck with now they lose the NBA. One more season. Right? Isn't that what it sounds like?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's on them. Now, look, I'll admit, and I know you'll agree with me, the NBA on TNT is great.
The best sports analyst show, the best sports studio show that maybe has ever been.
I agree. And we do have maybe something to see what the NBA will be like with the NFL on Amazon. And by far, to me, that's probably the worst. As far as a crew, it doesn't move the needle for me. I just think
the Amazon football crew?
As far as like
the Amazon football crew is.
I'm talking about I'm not talking about Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels, which they're also whatever.
Right.
But it's Ryan Fitzpatrick, it's
right.
Richard Sherman, it's Andrew Whitworth.
I don't hate those. I don't hate that whenever. I don't get into that stuff a ton, but
and Tony Gonzalez, and then it's Carissa Thompson, who I've kind of crushed on forever. So she gets a pass. But
I haven't tuned in a lot to that gang. I pretty much start the games when they start these days, but I don't hate that gang.
I don't hate it. I don't know. I feel like you just threw 4 kind of guys together with interesting personalities.
Unlike Fox, Michael Strahan, Terry Bradshaw, Gronk, Jimmy Johnson, and
I don't like that either.
We've been friends for years.
Trust me, I don't like that one either. Yeah. I don't know. But this is going to play out hilariously for me to see a legal battle. No, you must take us. It's like you'll see it happen right in relationships where the dude doesn't want to settle, and then finally the girl. I've seen it with friends. That was my buddy.
Finally, the girl breaks him down. He settles and he cheats on her, and then they're divorced 3 years later.
Well, no, I was going more with like I saw it happen with a buddy where like he was with a girl for 9 years and she kept wanting to settle down as far as like get married, have kids, kept doing it. And finally it's just like, no, we're done. I've moved on to the new thing, which is Amazon or the new dude.
Yeah.
And then they instantly settle and they instantly pump out kids.
Right. Totally.
Right. They've been with somebody for all these years. They meet somebody within a year. They're married. They got 2 kids. Then that's what's happening. So TNT's lost. And also good luck again with traditional cable. Good luck getting fees from these cable providers and charging those fees. Like, what is TNT now? I mean, seriously, without the NBA, what the fuck is TNT? What are they?
Law and Order reruns and
Charmed reruns.
Yeah, Charmed. Do they still do Charmed reruns, or are we just pulling? Are we pulling like a 15-year-old? What is TNT bit out here?
No, I think they probably do Charmed. Like
have they brought it back? They're capitalizing on the Shannon Doherty death.
I'm gonna pull up TNT up. Dude, literally Charm starts in 35 minutes.
That's insane. That's so crazy.
This is the TNT schedule today. This is what's going on. Let's see. So,
by the way, let me ask you something. Who is this person? Who is the person that loves Charmed, Law and Order, the NBA, and A Few Good Men? Who is this person?
This is TNT's schedule since
almost me, except I don't like Charmed.
Well, this will be interesting. This is TNT's schedule since 10 a.m. They did back-to-back episodes of Charmed.
Yeah, bang bang.
Then they're going hard with Sandler. Hard. He must have a deal. Okay. They're going date night movie, anger management movie, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, The Waterboy, The Wedding Singer.
Jesus Christ.
All in a row. Now we're to Friday, 12 a.m. So 12 a.m. tonight, early morning. Meet the Parents. We're hitting one more comedy.
Even Adam Sandler fans are in the middle of that marathon. They're like, all right.
So then at 12 a.m., let's say you're up, you're working, you want some background noise, you want a movie, you got Meet the Parents. Then if you're still up, we have NCIS New Orleans.
Yeah, let's go.
At 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Then at 6 a.m.
How did you not call it NCIS NOLA? Like, just go full acronym.
Because I'm reading it how it properly should be.
No, I know. I'm saying, why didn't the producers call it that?
Gotcha. That's hilarious. So now we're kind of back where we started. 6 a.m. tomorrow, 7 a.m. tomorrow, 8 a.m. tomorrow. 3 straight episodes of Charmed. Then we're back to comedies. 9 a.m. Meet the Parents. 11 a.m. Meet the Fuckers again. 1 p.m. Little Fuckers.
Just go straight fuckers. It's like Meet the Fuckers.
3 p.m. The other guys. Then we're no. This is actually kind of hilarious. Then we're back to Sandler, back-to-back Sandler movies tomorrow night, 5:30 and 7:30. The Waterboy, The Longest Yard. Then we get wrestling, All Elite Wrestling at 10 p.m.
Who is this person? Charmed, Sandler movies,
Wrestling.
NCIS, NOLA,
Pro wrestling. That's a great question. You know why? The person who watches. Actually, I know who this person is.
Randy Ruther.
My former roommate in Las Vegas.
He loved
no
him
lie.
Charmed.
He would have Charmed on, and he could watch Sandler movies, and he would watch pro wrestling.
Is he the head of TNT Broadcasting at this point? Is he like? Is your
I
former?
haven't talked to him in 15 plus years.
Well, he's a Hollywood mogul. He's the head of programming for TNT.
My shout out to my old roommate Zach, who owned the condo in Las Vegas. He was a 6th grade history teacher and a wrestling coach. So that's your target demo. The middle school teacher who also coaches wrestling. He also never wore a shirt, and he wasn't like a in shape dude, which made it funnier. Yeah. He was always walking around the house just shirtless.
That's like the old, talk about the unstealable concept, but it's like, how come nudists are always the grossest looking people? Never seen a nudist camp. It's just like big fake titties, perfect asses. It's always some bald old man. It's a shrivelly sack. He's like, we're playing volleyball.
Have you ever been to a nudist camp?
No.
Me either, but I think you're right. Isn't there a nudist beach around San Diego?
Yeah. Black's Beach.
What's it called?
Blacks. Yeah.
How many black people do you think have actually been to Black's Beach? I bet it's very small amount.
Yeah.
I can't get over that TNT schedule, man. Who all they had was the NBA.
Yeah.
And baseball or baseball playoffs or NHL. All right, Joe. Well, I know we're having fun. I have to. The dirtballs are going to laugh at this. I got to get this show wrapping up here. Today is National Chili Dog Day. Yes, that's a thing that marketers decided, hey, how can we sell more chili dogs? Today is National Chili Dog Day, and I am hosting a chili dog eating competition for Gold Star.
Let's go.
You'd probably be good at this. So they sell coney crates, which are 10 cheese coney in a crate. It's their version of a crave case for White Castle.
Right.
And that's the competition. And I selected 3 people to compete. How quickly, the cheese conies aren't that big.
Yeah.
How quickly
like mini dogs, right?
Yeah. So 3 cheese conies, your normal coney, but it's that Cincinnati shit where it's loaded with cheese. How quickly do you think you could eat 10 cheese conies?
10 cheese conies. I don't know. Under 10 minutes.
That's what I was thinking.
I think I need less than a minute a coney.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking.
I'm not a huge hot dog guy, but I mean they're mini. I get it done.
Yeah, they're like this big. I'm real curious to see how these guys perform. So we're gonna actually. I think they're gonna
3 people.
It's 3 people. We've never done this. This was kind of a few of us had this idea. I've had this idea for a while. I'm like, let's do a cheese coney eating contest on National Chili Dog Day.
I love it.
Come on, we're in the Midwest. People are
chili dog. Isn't chili dog a move? Didn't we talk about this back in the day? You chili dogged her.
Where's what's his name?
Chili dog when we need him.
Chili dog sex move is when you get a titty fuck. When you get a titty fuck after getting shit on your cock. This can happen after an anal accident or intentionally. We were trying to figure out last night. I said the term rusty trombone, and Brittany thought I had it wrong.
Rusty trombone is when a girl's eating her ass and giving you a reach around hand job.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
And she goes, that doesn't make sense. Let's see what it says. Yeah. When a guy gets a rim job and a hand job at the same time from one person.
Yeah. What the hell else could it have been?
She was saying your dick wouldn't be rusty enough that you had to have shit on your hand. Why? I mean,
it's not the trombone portion that's rusty. It's the mouth portion that's rusty.
I know. This was the conversation while we were watching the final episode of
Charmed.
Nice callback. Presumed Innocent.
Okay.
Which they just dropped the final episode last night.
That's the Jake Gyllenhaal one, right?
Yeah, highly recommend.
You like it?
We loved it.
Okay.
I mean, it's a eight episode, one season.
Great. I'm in.
There's not much to it.
Also, if Taylor Swift hates your guts, I'm a super fan. So Jake Gyllenhaal, I'm a coming for you, buddy.
She hates him.
Yeah.
You're in tune with the Swift Nation. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah. You know who's a big Swiftie, by the way?
Who?
Nikki Glaser. Did I say that before?
No, you didn't.
Yeah. Just saying.
I mean, we got adults wearing bracelets. What are we doing here, guys? I bet there's a huge crossover of women who like Charmed and like Taylor Swift.
Yeah, probably.
That's got to be
a lot of moms of Swiftie daughters.
Oh, yeah.
Watching Charmed.
2 p.m. All right. Where can they see you live?
You can see me this weekend, Yonkers Comedy Club, Yonkers, New York, starting tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Get your tickets now. Actually, I just got hit with a promo code. Let me pull this up for you. If you go to YonkersComedyClub.com and put in Joe10, you can get $10 tickets to this weekend. We decided to do a promo code Joe10 in honor of the 10th anniversary of when I put out the joke Nikki Glaser just stole is coming up. So get your $10 tickets in honor of that 10th anniversary. Promo code Joe10, YonkersComedyClub.com. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, 1 Sunday. Come out and see it.
Cool. You guys can give us a ring on our hotline, which is 310-359-8365. Alex from Kentucky, I know you called twice again. Here's the deal, dude. Accept a bet. Accept a bet. You can keep dunking on Mike Vrabel and saying how much he sucks and he ruined your team. You not once have said you would accept a bet that he's going to win less games. I'm sorry, that the new coach, Callahan's going to win less games. So I'm going to put that out there. Because I think you're you're just in moron stage right now.
Yeah.
Move over to troll stage. You can follow me, Andy Ruther, all social media. Not hard to find. You can watch me. I'm going to do some live streams this week, actually.
Hell yeah.
Of Charmed.
No, I love it.
Psych. No Charmed. All right, guys, that's the show. Let's wrap it up. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back on Monday. And as always, stay dirty.